You're tuned to Radio Kidnappers, the voice of Hawke's Bay. This is the Homeopathic Show, and it's our pleasure, as always, to have Heidi Becken from Thrive Homeopathy in Napier. How you going, Heidi?
Hi, Ken. I'm well back and enjoying the sun. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm a box of birds. You know, I think every day that I wake up, I think this has got to be a good day because what's the alternative? It doesn't even bear thinking about, does it?
No, we don't want bad days, do we? No.
Now, just remind our listeners, you call your business Thrive Homeopathy. Why is that?
Well, exactly. I want them to have a good day.
Yeah, exactly.
And to thrive. So homeopathy works on the mental, emotional, and physical plane. And my idea is that we thrive on all those levels. And I try to do that by using homeopathic medicines to help clients.
You have been a practitioner in the homeopathic industry, for want of a better word, for quite some time. How many years?
Yeah, since 2011, so 7 years.
Yeah, and you've got certificates hanging up that says that Heidi Beck knows what she's doing?
Well, yes. At least I'm a registered classical homeopath.
Right.
Yes,
because anyone can actually hang up a shingle, can't they?
Well, yeah, unfortunately, you can call yourself or use homeopathy without being registered.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You are the real deal. Yes, you are.
Try to be.
And where are you? Where's your premises?
My clinic is on Hospital Hill in Napier. And, I see people from Monday to Friday. And you can contact me on 021-33-5233 or via website. There's lots of information, thrivehomeopathy.co.nz.
And for people who haven't tried homeopathic remedies before, you actually offer them a free 15-minute consultation,
Yes,
don't you?
I do. Sometimes people call and say, well, I'm not sure, a friend has recommended, I've heard about it. Can you actually help me with whatever? And I said, yeah, let's explore what your questions and concerns are. And then you make your decision if you want to come and see me or not.
Now, today we're going to talk about who started homeopathy and how and when and why and what and all those sort of things. So take us back to the beginning. Okay,
well, it goes back to Samuel Hahnemann. He was a German physician. He died 1843 at the age of 88, and he was still practicing homeopathy. And so he started off his career as a doctor, and soon realized that medical practice back in those days was pretty brutal. And he said, I am not treating another person. I feel like I'm torturing my clients, or patients. I'm even killing them. Now, let's back up. That's when people had syphilis and were given mercury.
Yeah.
Well, so the syphilis improved or, subsided a bit, and you died of mercury poisoning.
Yeah. So you got rid of the syphilis, though.
Yeah, so bloodletting, so all these crude treatments. So he said, I need to explore something better. So he went back to the teaching of Hippocrates, father of medicine, who said that there are two approaches to healing. One is the allopathic approach, one is the homeopathic approach. So he thought, okay, what we're doing right now is the allopathic, which means opposite suffering. That means if someone has pain, we take a pain killer. If there's a bacterial overgrowth, we take antibiotics to kill the bacteria. So this is the allopathic Western medical approach that we have adopted and use most often here.
Yes.
Now, the other approach has sort of been forgotten, and that is what Hahnemann rediscovered and has used, and that is the law of similars. So if there is similar some suffering, that's what homeo is similar and pathy is suffering, similar suffering, then we have to find a substance that would cause similar suffering if taken by a healthy person. And in doing so, that resonance will stimulate the immune system to heal and recover by itself.
Was there a Eureka moment for him, do you know, that when he decided that, I don't know, he might have taken the bark of a walnut tree and said, wow, that was great?
No, he was translating books because he stopped working as a doctor. And he said, I won't do this until I come up with something better. And he was translating books. he came across an article that said that quinoa, China bark, Peruvian bark would be beneficial for treating malarial symptoms because of its bitterness. And he thought, well, there are so many plants that are bitter, but they don't treat malaria. So why this? It's got to be a different reason. So he thought, well, let's take some and see. And sure enough, he soon developed malarial symptoms. So he thought, that's interesting. And then he went back to Hippocrates' teaching of similar. And then he just tried different substances in minute doses and always had reactions which were noted down in detail. And then he soon learned, this is a bit too brutal. I need to dilute this and see what happens then. Just diluting it didn't work too well because that's just watering it down. So he then added the form of succussion, which is a vigorous shaking. And then he realized that it works effectively, just like the original substance he was taking, without the toxic side effects of the substance, maybe. So, yeah, I guess that was sort of the beginning of homeopathy.
And do you still use the same process today?
Yes, until today, the same process.
Now, we have spoken about it before, and the last figure that you gave me was, let's say, round
thousands,
figures.
yes.
Thousands of remedies. So,
right.
And you mentioned it in our last show when we talked about our respiratory problems that most homeopathic remedies come in a pill form. Do you make the pills at your place, or?
I can. Like, I do have the just unmedicated white sugar pills. And if I want to make my own remedy, then I can medicate those. But we have registered homeopathic pharmacies, and so we order our medication from them.
Does every plant have the facility or the potential to be a homeopathic remedy? Every single plant?
Nature does, yes. We use plants, we use the whole periodic table, we use animal substances like the venom of certain animals,
Yes. So why are there only 2,000 remedies when there are thousands?
Well, that's why they keep evolving, because we keep discovering more and more. We can't just make something into a homeopathic remedy and give it. We have to learn what effect does it have. Will it work on certain organ systems, on your circulatory system, on your nervous system, that knowledge has to evolve.
So I suppose you're a bit like Pharmac, that, we get this exciting news that there might be a new drug in the war against cancer, but they're trialing it. It might be 10 years before they release it to the public. Is that what happens in the homeopathic world?
I guess, in a way, yeah. But there's no patent. I guess that's part of the problem, that there's no business profit behind it. Nature provides the substance, and then it's just made into the homeopathic medicine, and then it's there for all. There is I can't put a label on it and say that's mine, and whoever wants it has to pay for it. It exists. So
now, you didn't just wake up one day and thought, I think today I might become a homeopathic practitioner. Why did you become a practitioner?
Oh, that's that goes back several years. When my children were born, we were living in a toxic house. We didn't know. In the 70s, a tar glue was used to put the floorboards down. And so through the wood, all the toxins were diffusing into the room. And we had it then tested eventually, and we had DDT, we had Lindon, we had PCB, we had various molds, we had formaldehyde. There was nothing that we didn't have, so we actually had to evacuate the house, renovate. We did it all organic. And in the meantime, over the 2 or 3 years that our children were deadly sick, hospitalized several times, and weekly visits to the pediatrician, I eventually was greeted with, "You again, which one is it?"
Yeah.
So that was not very promising. And I had to switch doctors a few times because they just shrugged their shoulders and said, "Oh, go to my colleague, I can't help you." And throughout that process, I eventually started seeing a homeopath. And it was amazing. I remember my child was eyeballs rolling back, weak, limp in my hands, feverish. And she gave him a pilule. And I thought, oh, that can't work. Possibly, this little white thing, honestly.
So you were skeptical?
Well, yeah, as everyone.
Yes.
And within 10 minutes, fever had dropped, the redness had gone, my child was bright and bubbly and playing. And I thought, oh my God, that is just insane. So that got my curiosity going. And it wouldn't hold, obviously, because back in the toxic environment. And we just had so many opportunities to play around with homeopathy for this and that, and it always worked. Mm-hmm. So it just started to become an alternative and complementary to my doctor visits. And then eventually I thought, no, this is what makes me passionate, so I will study it.
I wonder that probably people listening to us saying to themselves, well, probably every single house on that street was built the same way, with the same flooring, with the same walls, the same fumes coming through them. Was that type of sickness that yourself and your kids had, was that common in the street? And they just got it treated normally? Or?
I think this is in Europe, where it happened. And there were several cases. The lady who lived a floor higher died of liver cancer. Liver is your detox organ.
Sure.
So I'm thinking, obviously we didn't react as strongly because as adults, we could basically deal with those toxins much better and probably longer. And maybe 5 or 10 years down the track, we would have become ill. But with a newborn child, the immune system is much weaker, so they reacted really quickly to the toxins. And how many allergies are out there and how many respiratory issues and fevers and so...
I wonder why that is. I mean, it's a bit like, I'm a big fan of peanut butter sandwiches. Do you like a peanut butter sandwich yourself?
I do. Without the jelly, though.
Yeah,
just the peanut butter.
Try it with the raspberry jam as well. It's yummy. But when I was a kid growing up, just about every single kid at school took peanut butter sandwiches in their lunch. Mm-hmm. Now, some kids aren't allowed peanut butter sandwiches at the school, full stop.
Yes.
Because there might be someone
with an allergy.
With an allergy. Mm-hmm. What happened?
Compromised immune systems. We're on that topic, which I didn't want to touch. Yeah. Vaccines often even have peanut proteins in it.
Yep.
Within the vaccine. So when that's introduced right into the blood system, that then can allergies is a confused immune system. So they mistake the peanut to be some very dangerous invader, and then the body sends out histamine and reacts and tries to ward off this danger, this threat. So it's a mistake, really.
Yeah. The reason I brought up peanut butter sandwiches, not just because they're yummy on white bread with real butter, by the way, is that if we had a child or we knew someone who had that allergy, could we homeopathically treat them with a tiny bit of peanut once a day, and then a month's time we give you a whole peanut?
There are protocols, and I actually have a remedy of peanut, but that's the thing about homeopathy. We cannot sit here and say, if you have that, then you take that. That's not how homeopathy works. That might work for that one person, coincidentally, be the right remedy, but the next person would actually receive a different substance or a different treatment for the same allergy.
So if I have an allergy to peanuts and I really would like to have a peanut butter sandwich, would a homeopathic remedy be available? For instance, like I can't eat cheese. If I eat cheese, I vomit. So could I come and see you? And that wouldn't be horrible.
Well, again, when we're in a homeopathic consultation, we really assess the full story. So it's about 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
And we really try to figure out, is it a intolerance? Are you not producing certain enzymes to digest the lactose? Do you not have lactase enough? So can we supplement that? Or is it a real allergic reaction? Is it an intolerance? There are so many varieties that we can't just say, oh, this is this. But I've had allergies and I've overcome them with homeopathic medicines. Not everyone can. We can reduce symptoms, the severity. We can find lots of remedies that will help you. You might still have the allergy, but then you can take a homeopathic remedy and the allergy will then become very bearable, or even the symptoms go away. But then maybe next season it'll come again, but then you at least have that acute...
I mean, I guess allergies is a whole topic on its own.
It is, yeah.
So what you're really saying is that there is hope out there, homeopathically speaking, for someone who is missing out on some of the good things in life.
Exactly.
Just because they think, oh, gee, I'm allergic to that.
Yeah,
And that's it. And like we spoke last time, with inhalers, they take a preventative inhaler every day just because they've been told to. And if someone says, avoid peanuts for the rest of your life, and you do...
Well, I also wanted to explain, when my clients come to me, it's really difficult because homeopathy is such a different mindset, such a different approach. It's about stimulating the immune system to heal itself. So we don't need to take a certain remedy ongoing. Because I use analogies a lot because I think people can relate to that better.
Yes, they can.
So, for example, if you think about a pendulum, and your health, or let's take an emotion pendulum, right? You've got happy here and sad here, and we have all the emotions in between. If we are stuck in a certain emotion, for example, grief has become so overwhelming, or anger, that really blocks the rest of our emotions, eventually we will then produce and develop physical symptoms. Yeah, maybe nausea, stomach cramps, constipation, migraines, all these things. So the homeopathic remedy that we have to find needs to resonate with those issues. And by taking it, it's like giving you a push so that then you can start swinging that full range and having all those emotions and all those, that the blood pressures varies, that the body temperature varies, a fever, you'd be stuck in the high.
I understand that,
So that's really what a homeopathic remedy does. It stimulates, it gives you that push. And how often you take it, I like to use the analogy of a swing. You push a child on a swing, maybe 2-3 times, and then once the child is swinging nicely, what do?
Push higher.
Oh, no, you don't.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, no, only if you want to get rid of the child and, aggravate and then send it in a spin. But normally you would stop, you stand back, you watch.
Yes.
But eventually the momentum is lost and you come back to that standstill, right?
Yep.
That's when you take another dose of the remedy. When the healing has stopped, then you take another dose of the remedy that gives you that push again. And once you're improving, you can stop because the body's doing naturally what it needs to do.
I wonder, you've mentioned many times over the last few years that we've been doing this program that you take a holistic approach to someone when they come through the door. Say, we don't just turn up and you say, take this. You talk to them, you find out the root cause of the problem. But I wonder if it was, say, a psychological problem, might you, because I know they do this in traditional medicine, might you use a placebo, a homeopathic placebo, because you think, well, they don't really need anything, but if they think they're taking something and it's working for them, does that work in homeopathic world as well?
Yes, it does. In some countries, for example, in India, I know they do that. We legally are not allowed to do that, and personally, I don't think it's ethical. Even if I were allowed, I wouldn't do it. So in those cases, we have options and alternatives. If there's no homeopathic medicine indicated, then I might just give some Bach flowers. And because obviously the person feels that there's an imbalance, there is a need, there is a stressor there. So then the homeopathic might not be clearly indicated or strongly enough or whatever reason. Well, then we use alternatives, which could be maybe some herbal teas or some herbs or some suggestions for lifestyle changes. Or then the Bach flowers.
Because humans are funny, aren't they? We like to think that if we've got a problem, we put something in our mouth, we're going to feel better.
Yeah.
Very weird.
Yes. So sometimes that is right, and we do need to give it. Again, it's about seeing who's in front of you and treating the person as an individual person with a dis-ease. And I think that is the main difference in a homeopathic approach as opposed to the conventional. Your pain or your illness is treated, but not the person.
We're quickly running out of time, and I just
All
wonder
right.
if we get to the point where we actually want to have a look at when we take traditional medicine, it will be highly unlikely that there wouldn't be some sort of side effect
Yes.
to a pill that we put in our mouth.
Every drug has a side effect, if not immediately, mid or long term. That's fact. That cannot be disputed. Everything has a side effect. Homeopathy doesn't have side effects. It can have proving symptoms. So if you're taking the wrong substance ongoing, then you can actually create the symptoms of that remedy, of that substance. But if you stop, they subside very quickly. So it's not a side effect, it's a
So you can't
a
overdose
proving.
on it, can you?
Well, you don't want these proving symptoms,
No,
do
you don't
you?
want to keep them going, do you? That's right.
Yeah.
So,
So you wouldn't. The other thing is it can aggravate your existing symptoms. And based on Hering's law of cure, which is a fundamental law, it does say that healing, deeper healing, will start from within and go out. So healing maybe of your lungs with respiratory problems, and then later on symptoms on your skin might appear. So it's like healing outwards and also healing from your head down. So if you had the migraine and we're addressing that, if later on you get joint pains, that's good because that's a sign that it's going down. If it's the other way around, not so good. And also in reverse order. And that is interesting for people to understand that maybe over years they've suppressed with medication certain problems and don't even consider that they have it. They say they're cured. They haven't cured it. They've just suppressed it and managed it. And then when you start your homeopathic healing journey, these old symptoms, these old illnesses, they might resurface. Like the cold sore might suddenly pop out.
yes.
All right? But then that's healing and it goes away much quicker.
That's a great example, actually, because, you know, for instance, I know people who suffer from acne and it keeps coming back and coming back. I've fortunately never had it, but is that one of those sort of things that you're meaning that?
Yeah, so basically, you take all your steroidal
Yep.
cream and you suppress the acne, you've healed your acne. That's a misconception. You've suppressed it. Then you've developed maybe some respiratory problems, right? So then you come to the homeopath, you address the respiratory issues, and you go, wow, yay, it's healed. But then the skin symptoms reappear, which is a good sign. That's
Yes.
from you've healed inside towards
coming
the
out.
out.
Yep.
And you used to have the acne or the skin problems, so that's flared up. In homeopathy, it's often like peeling the layers of an onion. Someone will come with a certain complaint, then you address that, and then something else will surface. That might need the same remedy, it might need a different remedy. And then you go deeper and deeper as the person is ready and prepared and willing to go. And
And sooner or later you'll get to the core of it.
yes, yeah.
Look at that.
Exactly.
We were going to have a song, we haven't got time, but I just want you to remind our listeners before we get to your thought for the week, if we want to come and see you, where are you?
Hospital Hill in Napier, number 1 Lambton Road, Thrive Homeopathy. My name is Heidi Beck,
Yes.
and the phone number is 021 33 5233.
Did you say you had a website?
I do. thrivehomeopathy.co.nz.
And your thought for the week is?
Well, in order to change, we must be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
And we all get like that, Heidi.
Oh,
As always, our pleasure to talk with you. You look after yourself. We'll talk to you same time, same place next time.
thank you for having me. Bye-bye.